Hi, I'm Anne McGarry. I'm a human development consultant, trainer, coach, and author. Thank you for joining me on this short video. I've recently launched my third book, On Camino Once More, 7 Keys to Embrace the Freedom of Joy. At our question and answer session, I was asked a number of questions in relation to the Camino. Also, since the book was launched, I've been asked a number of questions in relation to taking on Caminos. In this short video, I will go through 6 tips and hopefully you will find them beneficial. So, tip number 1, looking at the route. It's important to decide which Camino you're going to go on. There are several of them. The most familiar and the most popular route is the French Camino, starting in Saint-Jean and going over the Pyrenees and westwards through the north of Spain to Galicia and to Santiago de Compostela. That is just under 800 kilometers. There's also a number in the north of Spain, such as the Northern Camino, the Coastal Camino, Primitivo, just to name a few. And then from Portugal, there are 2, one an inland route and the other a coastland route. That's just to name a few. Once you have decided the route, you need to decide the number of days that you're going to take on walking Caminos. The advice really is to get a good map and a guidebook to help you make those decisions. Another important thing is, what time of year do you want to walk? Some of the routes can be extremely busy during the high summer season, particularly the French Camino. And then you need to also take into account later in the year, or indeed the beginning of the year, it could be rainy. So again, make a decision around the time of year. The second tip would be around physical fitness. It's important maybe to get into some degree of training, particularly if you're taking on the French Camino, which is almost 800 kilometers. The third tip is around whether you're going to take on the Camino yourself, do it solo. Are you going to do it with a group of friends, or are you going to join one of the tours? With nearly all Caminos with tours, they are self-guided at the end of the day, just to bear that in mind. And if you are taking on Caminos and you're going with friends, just remember that your pace of walking will be different to others. So even though you might start a walk on a given day with friends, if you were walking with friends, your pace is going to be different. So the chances are that you may not complete the entire section that you've planned with that particular person. This also gives you an opportunity to meet others along the way. So variety is good. For me, at this point, I prefer to walk solo, and I will engage with other pilgrims walking, but in the main, I prefer to walk very much a solitary walk. The fourth tip would be around your backpack. Just make sure it's as light as possible. And that means taking care of the shoes that you buy. Make sure that you have a good, strong pair of shoes or boots, depending on the time of year. Investing in a good quality boot or shoe is absolutely essential. Your socks are another consideration, and buying socks that have a mixture of different materials is important. If you buy only cotton, you can find that the cotton soaks up moisture, and this is a great source of blisters. So just keep an eye on that. And while we're on the subject of blisters, your little first aid kit is hugely important, and buying Compeeds or something similar to that is hugely valuable. They are a definite must in my backpack. So when we're talking about shoes, it's also good to bring a second pair of shoes for the evening times so that you can rest your feet and give them time to breathe. Your clothes is a further consideration. Here, I would suggest that you bring a few pairs of light trousers and several tops. Again, if you can bring something light, that's also easy to wash and particularly dry, that's important. My fifth tip is around accommodation. If you're with a tour company, that's fine, they'll book your accommodation. But if you're booking for yourself, maybe just book the first 2 days at the start of the Camino and see how you go, see how the distance is working out for you, and whether you're comfortable walking from point A to point B and then onwards. If you find that the first few days have been particularly difficult, then my suggestion to you is not to book too far ahead because you may not achieve that distance in a given day. So again, here, this kind of ties back to your backpack as well. If you're carrying it, you need to make sure that it is light. And in relation to backpacks, there is a facility to send them on by taxi. There are various companies that provide this service, and all you have to do is leave your luggage down at the reception of your accommodation before 9 o'clock the evening before, and they will collect it for you and bring it to your next destination, whatever you choose. And the fee is very, very reasonable. So if you are not comfortable carrying your pack for the entirety of the Camino, then using one of these facilities where your luggage is brought forward for you is great. And that frees you up just to have a day pack where you'd need ample water, your guidebook, your maps, and I hope that you might be interested in journaling. So pen and paper is good. And my final tip, the sixth one, is very much to enjoy being in nature and let nature talk to you. There's no need to rush on a Camino. This is very much your own time, and your Camino, not alone is it the physical steps that you take on the Camino, but it's also the steps that you take inwards. So enjoy your time on Camino, and reflection is great. So that concludes my 6 tips. I hope you found them interesting. Would love to get your feedback, and buen Camino.